Kaguya-sama is fantastic. That is as true as water being wet and Bocchi the Rock fans being mentally insane. They said it was a masterpiece and it changed their lives, but it wasn't going. The anime fans were witnessing a modern rom-com anime classic in the making. And here's a story of me being dumb enough to drop this anime. When the first season started airing, I didn't really care because it looked like a seasonal episodic one-trick pony that would be forgotten the next year. I dropped the anime after one episode like the goober that I am. And I was terribly wrong. Not only had it become more well-known, but it also became the highest rated anime on my anime list with season 3. And of course, the Full Metal dweebs did their thing, and down it goes. This was actually the time when my friend recommended me to try the anime again. And I was still hesitant because the last time a friend recommended me something during that period, it was a fucking Imagine Dragons song. But after watching 3 seasons, a spicy OVA, and a fantastic movie, I realized that even if we disregard the ratings and the fact that it is still the highest rated rom-com or even romance anime in MAL, everyone who has followed this series can safely agree that Kaguya-sama Love is War has become a gold standard of rom-com anime. And the first reason for that is because it has a simple yet interesting premise. This anime is about Kaguya Shinomiya and Miyuki Shirogane, the vice president and president of the student council respectively. But instead of taking at least 13 episodes to at least confirm that the characters like each other, they confirmed it at the very start. The problem now is that their pride won't let them confess to each other because of the idea that there is a power dynamic in a confession, and according to them, you shouldn't be asking people to date you if you are an elite student. But they also want to be together, so because of this, they play mind games back and forth on who can make the other confess their feelings. The best example here is this one time when they want to make the other person use their umbrella together when it's raining. They have to pretend they forgot theirs even though they both have one, and if either of them got exposed as a liar for having an umbrella, it means that person wanted the other to share their umbrella, and that's basically a sign of attraction, and therefore, that person loses the battle. A lot of people are comparing this to Death Note, and they're correct. Except it's not about finding out you're a serial killer and more about being too shy to be in love with each other. So also Death Note. The premise of Kaguya-sama is almost like a satire of romance anime, kinda like Konosuba to Isekai, and all of this has become a catalyst for one of the best aspects of the show, which is the comedy. Kaguya-sama, just like a pick-me girl, is not your typical rom-com anime. The usual rom-com anime still has some funny moments, but they're not exactly known for being a funny anime. You don't see them in the same lane as other comedy anime, you're mostly watching them for the romance. And Kaguya-sama isn't exactly like that, because it belongs to the category of rom-com anime that are actually funny. This anime's definition of rom-com is not exactly romantic comedy, because rom-coms are more of a romance subgenre than a comedy subgenre. This anime is a romance and comedy anime. Not only it is a good romance anime, Kaguya-sama is also a good comedy anime. There's the Manzai act, which is a staple of comedy anime where a person reacts and says one-liners and quips whenever something crazy is happening. This anime knows how to weave the funniest misunderstandings, whether it's romantic or not. And this anime also has running gags, from Miko unaware of her being a closet pervert to this girl who keeps catching L's. And then my favorite running gag in this anime, the one where Chika develops her maternal instincts and PTSD from teaching Miyuki not to be dog shit on doing things. If this type of humor isn't for you, then that's fine, but it is still worth a try because the comedic moments in this anime are not limited to the mind games. The ability of this anime to make virtually any situation funny and exaggerated is just amazing. It can be something relatable, absurd, or both. And the main reason why all of these comedic moments in this anime work as a whole is because, in varying degrees, 80% of them use this comedic formula that has been used by a lot of comedians. In fact, this anime reminded me of Key and Peele. Okay, bear with me, it will make sense later on. I know that explaining why a joke is funny is as unappealing as grass is to Reddit mods, but hear me out. Now, to prove my point and to make it easier to explain, let's use one of their most iconic sketches, which is the substitute teacher video. This sketch is so easy to explain, there's already a video about it, so shout out to them. It all begins with a normal setting, which is a classroom full of students. This is the setup. And then next is the reveal. This is when the unusual behavior starts to show.
Jay Quellen. Where's Jay Quellen at? No Jay Quellen here?
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be.
The unusual behavior here is him being unable to pronounce stereotypically white names, and he's mad that he's being corrected about it. This is when the joke begins. Then the next step is escalation. This is the part where they increase the stakes or intensity of the joke. And in here, they did that by making his tantrums more exaggerated as he gets more names wrong. This is a sign that tells us that there will be a payoff and climax at the end. Then finally, after being used to the scenarios, there will be the comedic payoff.
Timothy.
Present.
Thank you.
Which is here, pronouncing a stereotypically white name the way he does, which is stereotypically black, and he actually got it right. The sketch ends. Now with all that, how did Kaguya-sama use this formula? Well, let's use this example from Season 1, Episode 6. The normal setting starts with Miyuki and Ishigami talking about him wanting to quit as their treasurer, which by their standards is pretty normal considering he probably listens to Radiohead. But the unusual behavior starts when Ishigami states the reason why, which is him suspecting that Kaguya might kill him. Which is wrong. What he doesn't know is that he unintentionally ruined her plan to corner Miyuki into confessing. That's why she's acting this way. The joke here is that Ishigami is paranoid, and then this joke is being escalated as Ishigami proves to the viewers that he's really paranoid as his reactions to the president gets more absurd, like him noticing Kaguya also had a death stare on Chika, when the truth was, Kaguya was only mad that Chika was also unintentionally being a hindrance in the earlier episodes. This particular moment is a sign that a comedic climax is about to come. And the climax of the sketch is that Kaguya showed up bloody while holding a knife looking for Ishigami, with him, including Miyuki, being shocked and terrified that she might actually do it. And as it turns out, it's a prank. Miyuki is relieved, but Ishigami isn't convinced yet that this is all a misunderstanding. Then, right after this, Chika then appeared bloody and asked for help, reaffirming Ishigami's observation on Kaguya once again. Then, Chika said psych, everything's normal again. Kaguya jokingly threatened him to keep his mouth shut about her plans, realizing she was listening to their conversation the whole time. As his paranoia got relieved and got worse at the same time, the sketch ends. This is not the funniest example, but it's an example that I can explain piece by piece. I'm not saying that the author got this idea from Key and Peele because I don't personally know the guy, and I'm also not saying that this is the only anime that uses this formula. My point is that this formula works, and this formula has produced some of the funniest moments from this anime. This formula has made me, a grown-ass man in his 20s, unironically laugh at a pee-pee joke. The comedy in this anime is well written, and to be honest, I can't make you fully understand the comedic genius of this anime unless you watch it yourself. The way they use animation for exaggeration, multiple shifts in presentation, the references, the tongue-in-cheek soundtracks, versatile voice acting, please also watch the dub, and impeccable comedic timing are just perfect. There's a reason why this anime has produced a lot of memes. It's just that funny, and also because of the comedy, it has become easier to like the characters. The characters in this series have amazing chemistry. They have this dysfunctionality that also kind of reminds me of Konosuba. And with good chemistry comes good character dynamics. The other characters are amazing as well. In fact, forget it. You can pick any relevant character here as your favorite, and it's going to be understandable. You can even pick the narrator as your favorite for making this anime 2 times funnier. The side characters will have their specific roles and they kill it every time they show up. Some of them even have small changes as you watch the show. This anime surprisingly has continuity even to the smallest details, which is funny because I thought this was an episodic one-trick pony. Speaking of this topic, I think the reason it didn't become a one-trick pony as predicted is because as the episode passed, this anime focused more on the characters. Yes, the mind games are still there and the show is still funny, but this anime understands that the characters need to grow. And I like how they set up the characters for some development, because this anime manages to slowly set up the backstory of these characters in the middle of the comedy. And it's hard to notice unless this anime decides to make it look serious. For example, the setting here was in the library where Kaguya was teaching Ishigami for the exams, and this was right after a comedic scene. But then the other students started talking crap about how Ishigami was a creep and he shouldn't be on Kaguya's side, and initially it looked like it was about to be for comedic purposes. Until you realize that there was no punchline. The mood was serious, and Kaguya shut them up. I know that Ishigami is the type of guy who scares the host by playing Osu, but why does he have such a bad reputation in the first place? Why is he even this pessimistic in the first place? This is one of the early steps in this character arc. The anime then continued like nothing happened, but the pieces were slowly being set that will occasionally build up on random episodes. And before you know it, boom, some of the best character arcs you'll see for a while. This anime has the ability to transition from funny to serious and then to funny again effortlessly. And they do this without destroying the overall lighthearted vibe of the anime. There's even this one time they did both at the same time when they made a character highlight on Hayasaka by rapping to each other. How did this anime make me invested in this? Like, don't get me wrong, this was entertaining as f***, but it worked. It gave Hayasaka some development, even though this was supposed to be a serious moment. And this meticulous way of developing the characters is one of the reasons why the romance is so good. But before getting to that, trust me, we will get to the romance. I would like to mention that Kaguya-sama really does use the same anime tropes, but the author just adds some twist to it. Some examples are the school setting in anime that we're sick of that has definitely no relation to some of us getting older, or a self-insert nobody that gets some female attention. But you know what this anime did? Rather than being in the classroom, why not the student council room? Yes, we have a loser character, but let's make him a fun and compelling character instead. And the same goes for the main romance. See, I told you we're getting here. When it comes to romance in anime, there's the standard tsundere doing standard tsundere things. And of course, romance anime is notorious for dragging the confessions. I know this. I went insane because of it. In Kaguya-sama on the other hand, this anime has two characters who refuse to show affection and are willing to go through hell for 3 seasons just to make the other confess. And all of this sounds terrible if it didn't have an endgame. Which is not the case. Because this whole lovers war thing this anime has, it's not just a gimmick for the sake of it. It's a plot device for their relationship. And with the way this anime develops characters, you can see that this anime is actually trying to reach that endgame. This plot device basically leads us to answering the question of why they even fell in love in the first place. Because every time you see them interact in the comedic moments, every time the anime highlights their characters and shows us who they really are, and every time they overcome an obstacle, you will slowly understand why they fell in love with each other. Hell, they will even break the rules occasionally and inadvertently show how they care for each other. Although this anime admittedly has more comedic moments than romance, I can still say they're equal in impact. Because unlike this anime's comedy, which is just an unstoppable bombardment of funny moments, the romance in this anime is a slow burner. When the romance hits, it hits hard. And these highs made me excited about how things would turn out. All of this creates a build-up for the confession scene because throughout those moments, they keep falling harder for each other. It even makes the will they won't they scenes more exciting than they deserve to be because of the fact that they know they're in love with each other and they just want to risk it all. But they have to contain their excitement. Some may say it's just dragging the series, but I disagree. This anime is fully aware of how stupid not being honest about your feelings is. This anime even has a character as a reminder of why it's stupid. But they have their understandable and surprisingly mature personal reasons as to why they shouldn't confess first. It really became philosophical when it comes to being a tsundere, and this anime did a pretty good job of addressing those issues. But no matter how much pride and dominance they want to assert to one another, in the end, they just want to be with each other, regardless of who they are and what others think. So, yes, if you haven't, check out this show and don't make the same mistake as I did. And for the Kaguya-sama fans, I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game. The manga is actually finished now, and overall I enjoyed it a lot. The series might have some relative lows, because no series is perfect, but that doesn't nullify the highs of this anime. It has already cemented a legacy with its unique concept, actual comedy, and a different approach to character and romantic development. And because of all of this, expect Kaguya-sama to be on the majority's top 5 rom-com, comedy, and even romance anime. But you know an anime I also like? Food Wars. However, the series fell off before it ended. If you wanna know why, check this video here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.